Well, when disaster strikes, finding a safe place to stay can be pretty overwhelming, and that's where Airbnb.org steps in. Now, this nonprofit is using Airbnb's global network to provide free housing to families in crisis.
Joining us today to share more about this incredible work is Christoph, Executive Director of Airbnb.org. Welcome, Christoph. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Of course.
So what challenges do people face finding housing after disasters, and how does Airbnb.org help?
Well, as you know, there's just more and more disasters every year. You think about this last year, and the number of hurricanes and wildfires and tornadoes around the country is it's just been absolutely unprecedented. And when those events occur, thousands of people are displaced, and many people lose their homes in it. And so in that environment, what we're doing at Airbnb.org is leveraging the network of millions of Airbnb listings around the country and around the world to house survivors for free in times of crisis. And we're a fairly new organization. We were founded about 4 years ago by Airbnb, and we've just had a really I think unfortunately busy year, but at the same time really inspiring to see how hosts and donors have come forward to really help people and help their neighbors in times of great need.
Yeah. And other stories we need to hear, some cheer at the holidays here. So maybe you could fill us in too on how does that host network for Airbnb.org, how do you use that and respond during crisis?
So, if you've ever stayed in an Airbnb, you've probably had the experience of being hosted by an Airbnb host, and they're really special people. They really love hosting, and those values of hosting and the ethos of hosting really come out in times of crisis when they really want to help their neighbors. And so, the original idea actually for hosting people in times of disaster came from a host. It goes back to 2012 when Hurricane Sandy hit New York City, and there was a host in Brooklyn. Her name was Shell, and she said, "There's all these people displaced. I've got an Airbnb. Like I'll just open it up and they can stay here for free." And so she was the very first one, and very quickly about 1,000 hosts in New York City opened up their homes for survivors of Hurricane Sandy, and that's where the spark came from, and has was sort of growing over the course of the last few years. And then we formalized it about 4 years ago to really put the structure in there to help hosts open up their homes in times of in times of disaster. And it's just been amazing to see the support that hosts give in these difficult times.
Yeah, fantastic.
Wow, what a great story.
Love it.
So with disasters seemingly increasing, right, how has Airbnb.org kind of scaled its efforts to meet the growing demand for emergency housing?
Well, every year, Airbnb as a company is growing, and so there are more and more listings around the country and around the world, which is great because then we just have more ways to help people. At the same time, we've been growing Airbnb.org, and so this year in 2024, we've responded to twice as many disasters as we did last year. And that's obviously a function of there being more need, but also a function of more people donating to Airbnb.org, so we can pay for more stays when hosts aren't able to offer them completely for free, but can only offer a discount. And I think next year is going to be even a bigger year. There's no lack of need, and we're just seeing such a generous outpouring that it's our responsibility and our duty to help as many people as we can.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Christoph, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if people need information, they can just go to that Airbnb.org.
Yeah, just jump on our website, Airbnb.org, and you can learn about all the ways that you can help. If you make a donation, 100% of that pays for a stay for families in need because Airbnb covers all of our operating expenses. So it's a really leveraged donation. And if you're interested in hosting, open up, you have a free room in your house, and you'd be willing to help out in times of disaster. Even if you're not an Airbnb host, you can do that with Airbnb.org with all of the protections that come with it. And you can learn about it at Airbnb.org.
Great.
Well, thank you, Christoph.
Yes, thank you so
Thanks
much
for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day, and happy holidays.
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you.
holidays.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
great stuff.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Well, stick around. We'll be right back with more Good Day in WA.